What's up, everybody? My name is the Mad Chef, and today I'm here with your PDD draft analysis video. That's right, another league. I told you it was on the way. I told you, dog. But this one, I drafted a very exciting team. Let me just adjust. Anyway, I drafted a super exciting team. I ended up being able to get first pick overall, which is super exciting. Which meant that I had full run of the draft board. And in this league, they had an interesting setup. So Pokemon 12 and under could Terra. So anything from 12 and under could Terra, which is pretty average, it's pretty normal, low tier Terras. But what was unique about it was that you had to buy with your Terra points what typings you wanted to Terra into, with the exception of you got one free stab typing. So it just added another layer onto our process of, we really want to get good high tier Terras, but if we do, we really have to deal with really bad Terras later down. But I think I treaded the line perfectly to end up with a really nice balanced team that can do a lot of damage, but also has a lot of bulk and a lot of options it can do going into a week by week, which is what's going to win me games. So with that being said, go ahead and reveal our first pick. It's Dragapult. Like I said, we got first pick overall, so I had to scoop Dragapult, the absolute GOAT of Pokemon draft. But fun fact, this is actually my first time using a Dragapult. I have never in my life used a Dragapult before. So let me just do a quick adjustment. Better. So yeah, I've never used a Dragapult before, so I'm super excited about that. But going into it, I thought I really wanted to pick something that was really good, that I knew I could rely on throughout the season. And as I was looking around at the draft board, I was like, I could go for Great Tusk, but honestly, Great Tusk isn't worth like 19 points in my opinion. It's like 17 points. Same strength as like Bax or Iron Bundle. So I didn't want to spend all my points on that. The other 19 pointer was Iron Valiant. Iron Valiant's cool, but it's really just one note. It just hits things really hard. I used it once during the BBR Summer Scramble, and I wasn't super impressed by it. I enjoyed it, but there was also options like Chi-Yu, Garchomp, Greninja. And like all of those I've used before, right? I've used before this generation, so it's like, I don't really want to use... What is up with my glasses? There we go. I didn't really use them again. I didn't feel like it was very good, per se. So, and not good, but I wanted something new. I wanted something fresh. And I almost picked up Sneasler, but I decided instead pick up nice and Dragapult. And I mean, everyone knows what Dragapult does. It has, what is it? 142 speed, base, 120 attack, 100 special attack. It gets all of these different kinds of setup moves and just lots of coverage. It gets like DD, and it gets like whatchamacallit, doesn't it get... Oh, I guess it doesn't get Calm Mind. I thought I got Calm Mind. Anyway, it gets a whole bunch of coverage. So it gets a lot of dragon moves, ghost moves obviously, fire type moves, gets psychic type moves, gets dark coverage, gets water coverage, electric coverage, and then it also gets status. Like it gets Thunder Wave and Will-O-Wisp, plus Hex can be really good. It gets screens, which is really nice. And then its coverage and stats allow it to be both physical or special in any given week, which is also super nice. And that's not even mentioning some of its like never used move. Like it gets some weird shit. It gets like pug coverage, like Pounce. It gets Solar Beam. It gets like Fly. It gets some good stuff. But I'm excited to use it. One of the reasons Dragapult is so nice is because its speed ensures that you are always going to be the fastest thing on the field, barring Scarfers. So no matter what, I can build around that and have it really just be a utility mon with screens if I need it 1 week, or I can bring it as offensive pressure and if I need it 1 week, which is super nice for some other mons later. Now, going into my next Pokemon, I decided, man, I really need something that can pair really well with Dragapult and kind of cover some of its weaknesses and just be a really reliable wall that Dragapult can rely on for all of its ghost, dark, and fairy shenanigans it has to deal with all the time. So what I ended up bringing up is my boy, Tinglu. This chunky dark type, probably the bulkiest dark type in the game. Maybe Mandibuzz out. No, I would say this thing is still bulkier than Mandibuzz. But this thing is another mon I haven't used before, but another great thing about this, obviously apart from just the bolt, is the spike. It's a incredibly reliable spike and stealth rock setter, which means that later if I want Dragapult just to hit buttons, or another mon you'll see in a bit just wants to hit buttons, Tinglu can be the vessel for them to accomplish that. Plus, obviously, the 155 HP with 125 defense and 80 SPDF, which isn't a lot, but then everything has their SPDF nerf, so that 80 is more like 110. So, it's pretty good. Super bulky. One of the bulkiest Pokemon that exist. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say. Because, damn, it just swallows hits. And then, obviously, it has 110 attack, which as a ground type goes, if I need to spam like Earthquakes in a week, that's actually not a bad attack stat to start throwing off Earthquakes from. Plus it gets like Ruination, which is just the Tapu Koko, not Tapu Koko, the Tapu's ability to do half health. It's Super Fang. It's Dark type Super Fang. On top of like Taunting, Whirlwinding, and like Phasing and stuff like that. Plus it gets like Heavy Slam, so if any Fairy types want to come in on me, they can get Heavy Slammed. But again, this is just really for those Dark and Ghost types specifically. Fairy, obviously, right now gets my team, is still super effective on me. Tinglu can take those hits and Heavy Slam, but he's not going to be super reliable against the offensive fairies that are in the game, like Iron Valiant, for example, we just talked about. So I need more stuff going into this draft, but if you've noticed, I'm first pick, so I have a wheel. So I ended up drafting something else on the wheel, our first Terra Captain, and honestly, a Terra Captain that I think, personally, shouldn't have been allowed. But it was Arcanine Hisuian. That's right, this thing can Terra. And it gets free Stab Terra 1, so I free Terra'd Fire. Then I picked up for cheap 1 point Rock, because obviously I'm going to want Fire and Rock coverage with Rock Head, Flare Blitz, Rock, Head Smash. You know the deal. And then last one, I picked up Terra Normal. Terra Normal E-Speed on this thing is crazy. Not to mention this thing's get Flash Fire, Intimidate, and Rock Head. All three fantastic moves. But obviously, based on what Terras I picked, this thing is going to be offensive as shit every week. This thing, the plan is to pick a Terra that goes, like a Terra type that goes really good into my opponent, and then just either Band or Scarf. And just kind of go in. But, this thing can do more than that, which is really cool, because it gets Morning Sun plus Intimidate. And I can Terra out of its typing if I need to, bulk-wise, if that works in a week. But it gets great moves. Like I said, it gets Blitz, Head Smash, plus E-Speed, which is really all you need in a week. But it also gets, like, Iron Head, Outrage, Psychic Fangs. It gets, whatchamacallit, Wild Charge is the other one, which is nice as shit. It's also another Stealth Rocker. So if I decide I need a Rocker 1 week and Tinglu for some reason isn't showing up, I mean, I guess I have the option on Arcanine, which is nice, but you'll see that I have a lot of Stealth Rockers. So everything, I'm always going to be bringing Rocks to a game. Even if Rocks aren't excellent, I'll still bring them simply because I have so many options to bring them, it would be a waste not to. But yeah, this thing goes crazy. Absolutely nuts. Insane. I'm super excited. Like, you can do calcs on this thing. I won't pull them up now. But, like, even bulky waters against, like, a Head Smash, or bulky grounds or fightings against a Flare Blitz are not doing great. They're getting, like, 2-shot most of them. There'll be certain Ishumons, like Swampert is going to be a bulky boy. Garchomp is a bulky boy. I'm trying to think. Gastrodon, Quagsire, really anything that can resist both Rock and Fire Stab together is going to be the big, oh my goodness, mon. The lead. Not the lead. The answer. Hold on. Let me brain reset. The answer. So, but in certain weeks like that, that means I know that mon has to come because it's the only thing on his team, or the best thing on his team that can reliably tank hits from Arcanine no matter which set it is. Because that's something that's nice about Arcanine, is Arcanine most weeks, it's going to be, is it going to be fire? Is it going to be ground? Or rock? Or is it going to be normal? There's not really predictability in that. Which is another thing to mention. Even on weeks where the Fire Rock Stab is both resisted, Terra Normal E-Speed exists. Which isn't going to be the out the gates of damage that, like, Terra Rock Head Smash is, but it's still really good. Anyway, That's Arcanine Hisuian. That's our first Terra Captain, our first one. We spent a lot of money on this. It was 16. We spent 16 of our 25 points on making sure we got this thing how we wanted it. So, but with that being said, our next mon, we were going back to a wheel, and Arcanine technically has a Fairy Resist, but I wanted like a Steel type Fairy Resist, obviously. So I picked up the GOAT himself, Empoleon. Now, Empoleon I have used before. In the Summer Scramble, Empoleon was on my team, and it was kind of goated with the sauce. But it got so much stuff this generation, so if you didn't know, it got, instead of Defiant as an ability, it got Competitive as an ability, which is really nice as an anti-defogger for Tinglu, meaning that if anyone wants to try and defog all of our spikes away, or spin, we have a spin blocker in Dragapult, and we have Competitive in Empoleon, which is massive because that's going to up our special attack, our already base 111 special attack stat, and it's going to double it for if we want to click like Flash Cannon, Surfs, Ice Beams. We got stuff like Grass Knot. We got special moves like Steel Beam if we want to go for the bulk. We got Air Cutter for certain matchups if we have a fighting type or a grass type we need to really get rid of that Ice isn't really doing the job on. We got options. But like I said, it got Roost as well. It's a really bulky water and a really bulky steel with the ability to roost off damage. It's one of the few mons that kept knockoff, although that's less so after the DLC came out and more stuff got knockoff back. It got like Triple Axle this generation. Again, it got Steel Beam, and it's another rocker. The last 3 mons in a row have all had the ability to set up Stealth Rocks, which is awesome. Has things like Roar, has setup moves, has Haze for phasing, which is really nice as a bulky water. Chilling Water, which is another slept-on move, but it's super nice to add in if you need a 4th slot for something. Because it just makes me even bulkier with the Roost and my natural bulk plus Chilling Water to lower attack. Look at him. Look at Tucker. Look at my dog. Tucker, who's a good boy? He's coming over here now. Ah, good boy. I know, I called you, so I'll give you some loving. Good boy. But, thumbs up there. Gets Flip Turn. That's the other thing it got. It got Flip Turn, which is also super nice, because now I have a slow Flip Turner into Arcanine, or into Dragapult. Super nice. I like it a lot. Yeah. I don't know what else there is to say. Really premier steel type wall. That's awesome. I would say it's a better steel type than it is a better water type, but it still fits the water type what I need. Specifically for Arcanine, if I need... the biggest thing is it's not a water type that can wall fire types very well. But with Tinglu there, I'm not super worried about that. Tinglu and then another Mon will have down the line. Well, Arcanine Hisuian also, because he quad resists. And if I need to run Intimidate for a super offensive fire type, I can do that. Intimidate or Flash Fire. Either or. But otherwise, Empoleon is swagtastic. I can't believe I just said that, but I did, and I'm running with it, so... yeah. So, next was the wheel, and I decided I need to pick up something nice and tasty. So I picked up Pheasantipity. And unfortunately, the DLC mons, they don't have their gifts out for public use yet. So, enjoy this still image of Pheasantipity. But Pheasantipity is a great one. I'm using it in a low-tier league right now. And I'm actually really enjoying it. It has a respectable 99 base speed, 125 Spidek with 80 HP, plus Roost, which is really nice. It has a great defensive typing of Poison Fairy, and it just naturally resists a whole lot. Biggest weakness is obviously Ground. I'm starting to stack up quite a bit of a Ground weakness. Between the last 3 picks are all weak, but we'll patch that up in a bit. But yeah, Toxic Chain is also super nice. Not just the toxic things, but also for Hex Dragapult. If I start getting Toxics off with Toxic Chain, like clicking a U-turn or just hitting my natural moves, then we're doing fantastic Chip. Chip and Dragapult is going to become so much more free on certain ways we run Hex, which is awesome. Awesome. Plus it gets a U-turn, it gets Calm Mind, it gets Swords Dance, so I can be physical or special, it gets Tailwind to boost my speed, it gets Taunt, it gets shit like Nasty Plot, Calm Mind, Swords Dance. It gets all these setup moves and all this coverage. It gets like Acrobatics, Air Slash, Alluring Voice, Brave Bird, Dark Pulse, Dual Wing Beat, Gunk Shot, Heat Wave, Hex, Hurricane, Moonblast, obviously. Play Rough and Poison Jab for physical quick attack. Shadow Ball, Shadow Claw, Sludge Bomb. Gets Tail Slap, I guess. It gets Tail Slap. I don't know why it gets Tail Slap. Obviously U-Turn, and then Terra Blast. I don't know why it gets Tail Slap. No idea. But it gets it! That's such a weird move for it to get. But I guess Tail Slap is nice because each individual hit of Tail Slap has a chance to proc the poison. So if I hit Tail Slap and I hit like 4 of them, then the other person is going to get Toxic. Because that's how it works. I'm fairly certain. Don't quote me. But again, now this is the Fairy type and another good Fairy killer in one. The type compression is super good in this Pokemon. Because the Grounded Poison, the Fairy Resist, and the Fairy Killer, because Empoleon's less of a Fairy Killer than Pheasantipede is. But Pheasantipede is really good at killing fairies, because it has actually respectable base stats for attacking, and it has, like, Gunk Shot. Plus, it is a Fairy type to help against other opposing dragons for my Dragapult, and for just my team in general, which is super nice. So far, you can see the bulk on my team is outstanding. We got Tinglu, Empoleon, and Pheasantipede, all with great bulk. And then Arcanine Dragapult as my offensive pieces, with Pheasantipede providing a little bit of utility here and there for attack. But I realized that I have a lot of bulk, but I don't have a lot of, like, physical pressure, really. And my only physical pressure with Arcanine and Dragapult, Arcanine is always going to be physical, and you're always going to know what he brings. And Dragapult is now kind of locked in the position where he kind of has to be special, almost. So I needed some stuff to kind of work around that. So, with our next wheel, I decided to pick up... Where is he? Where is he? There he is. Azelf! Why is he all the way down there? I'm not crazy, right? I picked up Azelf next. Yeah, I did. I don't know why he's all the way down there, but he's all the way down there. But I picked up Azelf next. And the reason I picked up Azelf is because I needed a Psychic type. I wanted a really good offensive Psychic type to kind of deal with potential fighting types on my team that want to come in on, like, Empoleon or Tinglu. So I wanted a good, like, something to scare them out, more so than just an immunity in Dragapult. And so I picked up Azelf, Azelf with base 125 in both attack and special attack and 115 speed is a threat. He is a threatening offensive Psychic type, who can be both physical or special. And it's a Levitate Mon. So I don't have a ground resist yet, but now I have a ground immunity, which is super nice. But then this thing gets, like, Calm Mind, it gets Knock Off, it gets Nasty Plot. I think it gets... Does it get Sword Stance? It doesn't. But, either way, it gets so much coverage. It gets Psycho Cut if I want to be physical. I would say the special set for this is a little bit better for Psychic types, but then it gets a lot of physical coverage, like Fire Punch, Ice Punch, Iron Tail, Knock Off, Play Rough. I think it gets Drain Punch as well, Thunder Punch, U-Turn, Zen Headbutt, obviously. Not hitting as hard as Psychic or Future Sight is, but still really good. And then obviously it gets the special coverage. It gets, like, Fairy coverage, it gets Grass coverage, it gets the Psychic, it gets the Fire, it gets the... Ghost coverage, Electric coverage. And it's another Stealth Walker. If I want to do Stealth Rock Sash Explosion, I can do that for a week to kind of just open the board up completely. I don't know how often I'll do that, but the fact I have it as an option means people have to prep for it. They have to prep that if Azelf is the lead, what are the chances it's going to Stealth Rock and explode? They have to prep for that because it just hits so hard on Explosion coming off a base 125 stat, which is nice. And again, this fits my speed tier super well. I haven't mentioned it yet, but for now, my speed from Tinglu to Pheasantipede isn't great. None of them are above base 100, so I have a huge jump from Dragapult at 142 all the way down to 99 with Pheasantipede, which isn't great because that means Dragapult I'm relying on for my speed control. So this helps that because now I'm at base 115. So now I'm going from 142 to 115 to basically 100. 99 isn't 100, but it's almost 100. It'll get beat out by the 100 Mons, but it's close enough to where there's not a huge jump anymore. Which also helps. For my next Pokemon, another Pokemon that's really just here to put in the work when it comes offensively, which is... Boom! Kilowattrel. Again, this is my next pick. I don't know why it's mixed up on the board, but whatever. This is indeed my next pick. Is Kilowattrel. Look at these nice, spicy Gen 9. Look at how clean the GIFs for the animations are. Tasty. But this mod, again, is now covering that 142 to 115 because this thing is hitting 125. So I'm not a lot faster than Azelf, but it's a much lower drop from 142 to 25 than 142 to 115. Not to mention, the 105 special attack stat coming off with an electric type that can answer ground types. So I'm adding an electric type, which is a really good type for to have in draft, but I'm adding it without adding a ground weakness and adding a natural ground immunity, which my team needed. So Kilowatt Wit's real perfect there. Plus, it gets like T-Wave, U-Turn, Tailwind, all that kind of good utility stuff, on top of just being able to hit things really hard with Thunderbolt Hurricanes, which is super nice. Yeah. Plus, with its ability Competitive or Volt Absorb, electric types now, I have 2 immunities with both Kilowattrel and Tinglu, which helps with Empoleon. Really, otherwise I don't really have an electric type weakness at all. I don't have, like, my flying type isn't weak. My water type is obviously weak. That's really it. But, which is nice. But I also get Competitive, so another anti-defogger on my team. So I have 2 mons now that can really just double their already over base 100 special attack stats to really make them monsters offensively to click buttons. If you're trying to defog away my rocks or my spikes, which I can set up rocks and spikes pretty easily, especially considering my next Pokemon is, but you'll see that in a second. But I'm at the point now where I have a special defensive wall, I have some good physical defensive walls, I have good utility, but I'm missing a few key typings for resistance-wise, namely Grass. Grass type I'm missing, and it's nice to have, although I have the 2 immunities, it'll be nice to have a Mon that's just grounded, that can resist ground-type hits, just in case, because you never know, obviously Zygarde isn't around to throw 1,000 arrows off, but still, you never know what they're going to bring to be able to handle my immunities versus just a resist. And then Edgequake in general, I'm very weak to. So a Mon that, like a good fast ground type that can bring Earthquake plus Stone Edge is still hurting my team really, really bad. Like, I have no answers to it. So I decided something needed to be done about that. So with my next Mon, I decided I'm going to pick up our fat grass type Chestnut, which Chestnut fits really, really well into this team. Bulletproof is a super nice ability for it for both Sludge Bomb, Aura Sphere. I forget what all the moves that are like bullet-like. I think Shadow Ball as well, which is Shadow Ball is huge because Shadow Ball helps with Dragapult. Again, another Mon that can kind of support Dragapult in its role, including more spikes. So now I have 2 spikers that are really good at setting up spikes. So, like, let's see, Aura Sphere, Energy Ball, Focus Blast, Gyro Ball, Ice Ball, Mud Bomb, not really, Pyro Ball from Cinderace, I'm immune to. Rock Blast, Searing Shot, Seed Bomb, Shadow Ball, Sludge Bomb, Syrup Bomb, which is for Hydrapple, which is someone drafted in the league, so this is good to know. I'm immune to that move. Plus Weather Ball. Did I cover everything? Sludge Bomb? Yep, yeah, no, that's everything. But the Sludge Bomb and Shadow Ball specifically are 2 huge things for me to be immune to. Sludge Bomb for my own sake, but also just Shadow Ball for Dragapult. It's not like another Ghost Resist, but it's one of those things where when you're clicking Shadow Ball into my team, you don't have to worry about just Tinglu, you have to worry about Chestnut coming in a Shadow Ball, because otherwise Chestnut's going to be immune and be able to hit you back for huge damage because he's going to out-bulk you. So really good. Plus, this thing with Bulk Up is actually kind of scary because it gets Bulk Up, Draining Punch, it gets Knock Off, it gets obviously Spikes, it gets Phasing in like Roar, Spiky Shield, Super Fang, Synthesis, Trailblaze, Woodhammer. It gets so much utility for my team. It's absolutely fantastic. So, like, I don't know, it's just so nice. And obviously this solves my Edgequake problem, because now I have Pokemon that can survive both an Earthquake and a sorry, lost my train of thought. I have a Mon who can easily come in on both Earthquake and Stone Edge together at once, and not have to worry about what they're clicking. So, it is the perfect grass type to fit in on my team for what my weaknesses were. Because now anything like an Arcanine, if anything wants to hit those Edgequake moves, because that's what people are going to want to hit, Edgequake moves or Water type move. Boom, Chestnut swaps in on them. Easy as pie. Immediate switch. Covers all of my bases. I have a Flying type weakness with an Ice type weakness. Flying Ice, Psychic. But Flying Ice and Psychic all get covered by Empoleon. So I'm not really too worried in that regard either. Fairy type, also Empoleon. And the way Chestnut is the perfect defensive answer, defensive support for Arcanine, Empoleon is the perfect defensive support for Chestnut. And then meanwhile, if I want to go on, Empoleon speak to what? Fighting, Ground, Electric. Boom! Kilowattrel. Kilowattrel comes in because it's immune to 2 and resists the other one. And then Kilowattrel's coming in and it's like, oh, what am I weak to? Ice and Rock? Ice and Rock, and I think that's really it. I think that's it, actually. Yeah, that's it. Then, boom! Here comes Empoleon! So all of my team works together in this defensive synergy that's going to be so difficult to break. Not because my bulk is outstanding, but because my typings together work in such a way where nothing is going to be able to hit one while also hitting the other. They're going to have to make a choice. Do I hit this, or do I predict this mon coming in and hit them with that? And they're going to have to make that 50-50. And me, as a player, I win those. I win those. So... Next, we're going into our last 2 picks. So this is the last bit of the wheel. Chestnut is the first half of the last of the wheel, and I decided the one thing I don't have right now is a spinner. And I realized this while I was drafting, because I was so like, oh, Empoleon is such a great defogger, I forgot that I should probably also pick up a spinner just in case I need that over a defog one week. But by that point, a lot of the good spinners were gone, and I didn't have a lot of points left to work with. I also needed to pick up a really good Terra Pokemon that could be really useful in either bulky or offensive compared to my Arcanine, like something more bulky and utility Terrain. So I was in a pickle. It took me a long time to look on the round board what I needed, but then I realized something. There is a whole Cryogonal. There's a whole Cryogonal just sitting, and I think it was like 4 points, which is perfect. Perfect for what I needed. Hey, another ground immunity, although I have enough ground coverage, I'm not really worried about that. But ground immunity for Terra Electric. So on this, I chose, if I believe I'm correct, I chose Terra Electric, Terra Ice, because I didn't have a lot of Terra points left to work with, so I had to do Terra Ice. But Terra Ice isn't bad, because I can Terra Ice as an offensive type, because I have good speed, with Ice Beam and Freeze Dry. Because this is an Ice Mon that gets Freeze Dry, so being able to Terra Ice with Freeze Dry is also really threatening. So if a team is really Fairy weak, and it doesn't really have any, or not Fairy, really Ice weak, and the only thing it really has for good ices is Water, which most teams don't. Most teams will either have Fire type or Steel type, obviously. But we're rocking out. But then Fire types I have like Ancient Power. So I also chose Electric, because obviously Electric, I think I get... Don't you get... I thought you got Charge Beam. Maybe you don't. Anyway, I got Terra Electric because I'm a Levitate Mon. So for bulky weeks where I don't want a weakness, or... Really, that's the main one. On weeks I don't want a weakness, I can do Terra Electric and kind of have my full reign of resisting electric and flying, and then being neutral to everything else. Because my 80 space HP plus my 135 base Spadef makes me a really bulky Spadef wall, especially with Terra Electric, where, hey, I'm not weak to anything anymore. On top of, then lastly, I chose Terra Fairy, just because Terra Fairy is just a good typing to have bulk-wise. I did get the recommendation of potentially doing something offensively for Steels, of changing that up to maybe like Terra... I don't know, Terra Fighting maybe, because then I lose my Rock, and I lose my Fire, and I resist Rock now. But the main reason I really wanted to Terra Fairy is because fighting types, if they want to come in on me, are neutral now, or are resisted now. And I can really abuse that. Plus, this gives me another mon for if Pheasantipity doesn't fit in any given week for whatever reason, I have another option. Pheasantipity is a great mon, though. It'll fit in most weeks where I need it. But yeah. I mean, I didn't really need anything else. I didn't want to go Terra Steel as a defensive, because I'm also weak to fighting. I could have Terra Watered and then been Fire Resist, but my Water type I like a lot. I don't know. My Water type is going to come most weeks in Polion just because it's super good utility, and I really like it for defog, roosting, flip turning, and it's like slow flip turn. So I didn't want to double up on water types in any one given week if I needed the bulk, but didn't want to be ice type. So I think Fairy was the best middle ground to play on that. But otherwise, yeah, I think it's really good value for 4 points. Remember, 4 points. And I'm going to get all this value. And just going through its moves real quick, obviously it's Rapid Spin, it gets Freeze Dry, it gets Recover, it gets also Explosion. I could have done Terra Normal Explosion, that would have been really funny. But also gets Acid Armor, so if I need to boost my defense for a week, I can. If I'm doing 2 Terra Ice, I can also do Ice Shard. It gets Triple Axle. It gets a lot of good coverage moves, which is super nice. It gets also utility like Icy Wind if I'm trying to lower speed. It gets Screens if I need to set up screens in any given week. It gets Haze, so I can phase things that I need to with Haze. Plus, like I said, it's base 105 speed, so now we're dropping from 115 to 105 to 99. Super nice and tight in there with those base 100s where all of the majority of those faster mons are going to be, so I'll always have something outspeeding them, barring even Dragapult. And then what, 95 special attack, 135 Spadef with 80 HP is fantastic. 50 defense and 50 attack, not so great, but not horrible either. Not horrible either. Like I said, the base, the 136 defense is enough to where if I'm resisting something, I can take a couple hits, or if I need to acid armor, it's usable in the right circumstances, so I won't sleep on it, but definitely not the greatest. But finally, if you haven't noticed, out of all of the typings I've picked up, with my main boy being Dragapult, I do not have a Ghost immunity, which is probably pretty important to pick up between Azelf and Dragapult. Now this mon I had planned to draft way earlier, and then I realized no one else is probably going to draft it, so I just waited till the end just in case. If it was something else, I didn't want anything else to get sniped, because other stuff potentially could have. So I waited till the end to pick up my boy, the Dunsparce. Nice, super thick normal type. Originally, before I realized through my head how points worked, I was like, oh, this is 12. I can pick this up for 9, and then I'm 21, I think that's how that checks out. Yes, I'd have 21, so I'd have plenty of points to tear it to whatever I want. I'd have 4 extra, and then I realized mid-draft, that's not how Terra works. But the Dunsparce is also just a super, super nice normal type, regardless of that. Has 80 defense, 75 Spadef, 85 special attack, and 100 attack, and you're like, oh, that's not great. And then it has a whopping 125 HP for bulk purposes, which is super nice. It gets Serene Grace, which is fantastic. But also, don't sleep, it gets Rattled. So because of a Ghost type attack, if I need to come in on Ghost or Dark types for this, and I want to run an offensive Dunsparce in a week and boost my speed, I can using Rattled, and then get that +1 speed, and then start Calm Minding, and then just kind of start like throwing off like Boom Bursts, if I wanted to. Which is part of the reason why I wanted to Terra this, but points didn't work out obviously that way, and I didn't want to sacrifice any of my Terra points that I'm currently using for Arcanine, because I need that to be as good as possible. But this thing is a threat. Let me make that very clear. This thing is a threat. Don't sleep. Don't sleep. It gets Agility if I need to boost my speed, Air Slash with Serene Grace, Ancient Power with Serene Grace, gets Blizzard, Body Press, Body Slam, Boom Burst, Calm Mind, Chilling Water, gets Coil and Curse, so if I need to set up physically and up my defense, I can, Double Edge, Dragon Tail, Drill Run, Dual Wing Beat, Earth Power, Earthquake, Endeavor. I don't know if I'm ever going to use Endeavor, but it'd be really funny if I did Endeavor with a Custap Berry. It'd be really funny. I don't know, Facade, whatever. But Fire Blast, Flamethrower, it gets Glare, which is another big one. Again, if I want to run a Hex set, now I have Glaring, Glaring to Dunsparce, plus Toxic Chain on Visitipity. So I'm able to toss out hazardous effects. Super easy. Again, and another Stealth Rocker, by the way. Headbutt, Hex, Hurricane, Hyperdrill, Hyper Voice, Ice Beam, Ice Spinner, Last Resort, Lunge, Outrage, Pain Split, Poison Jab, Gets Protect, Rest, Rock Slide, Roost, Shadow Ball, Stealth Rock, Stone Edge, Substitute, Tailwind, Throat Chop, Thunderbolt, Toxic, Zen Headbutt. It gets so much coverage. It is such an easy mon, and all of the other leagues I've used it on Sparse in, it is such a good and easy mon to just kind of get in there. You know what I mean? No matter what I'm doing in a week, it's being chilling. So yeah, that being said, that is the squad. Look at them. Look at them. Oh, wait. Other way. Look at them. Yeah, there we go. Look at them. 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 Wait, in the corner? Yeah, look at them all. Look at them all. Look at them all down there. All ganged up together. I'm super excited. I think this is going to be an absolutely phenomenal draft for me. I think this is probably one of the best teams I've ever drafted, ever. I guess there's a problematic idea of there's nothing super standout on my team as, oh my god, other than Arcanine H, and like Dragapult is nice. But I think that's sleeping on what my team can actually do. I think the idea of there's no real standout here than Arcanine H is kind of missing the point of the team, because the point of the team is that no matter what team I'm going up against, I will defensively check you until I can sweep you with Dragapult or Arcanine, or Azelf, or Kilowattrel. Like, the idea here is that my defensive checks and my, like, regular, like, hazard and my chip is so incredibly good that by the time you get through all of my defenses, you're now in range for, like, Scarf Arcanine or Specs or Banded Dragapult to just come in and start clicking buttons until you're gone. And that's the idea behind the team. And I think it achieves that very, very well. Because I think there are certain teams out there that'll just struggle to break. Just straight up, they won't be able to break me super well. Which I like. I think I'm not so bulky like a regen Stalcore where I will never be broken, but the breaking me is going to take so incredibly long. Because Tinglu, Empoleon, Pheasantipity, Chestnut, Dunsparce, on top of potentially bulky Kilowattrel or potentially bulky Cryogonal, is so much bulk to work through that pair together so well that it's just a lot. It's just a lot. So, with that being said, I am going to open up some peaches, snack down, and start prepping for my week 1 battle, which you will see next week. So, for this league, since it's an upload league, all of the battles, because I know I'm not very good about getting battles out on time, all of battles are required by the league to be up on, I think it's every Saturday. Let me double check that before I make a fool of myself. Yes, Saturday. By Saturday. So, every Saturday, this upcoming Saturday, because breaking the 4th wall, it's Wednesday, so this Saturday, this will be uploaded, and then the next Saturday, the 10th, check your calendars, mark it down, the 10th of August is the first battle for this league. I'm super excited. I'm super excited. It's gonna be a good time. Oh, it's gonna be so delicious. So, with that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I hope y'all are rocking with the team. Put in the comments down below what you're super excited about to see from this team this season. Any particular strats, ideas, anything you think I might struggle with. Go ahead, lay them on me. I am your canvas to paint your ideas of what I have drafted upon. So do ahead, do that. And if you haven't, like and subscribe. I'm going to be releasing more stuff normally, and I'm going to be doing more streaming is the goal. Knock on wood, in between work and school, I'm going to be trying to do more streams. Even if they're just small streams, little streams at least every day. And you got stuff looking. You got Emerald Rogue, you got Rogue Red, or Radical Red, that's what it is, and we got Elden Ring random weapons that'll go up and just alternate day by day by day. Every day will be something new. So, again, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, ring the bell icon, get notified. Get notified, damn it! Praise the Lord, get notified. Anyway, I'm rambling. I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!